And we're back with the legendary. When I tell you, when you talk about face antics, baby, this is the one. This was my partner when I made my debut for Femme Queen Face, Zeric Mugler.
West City.
You probably also seen him on Model City.
You know, that's where I didn't see you in ballroom first. I saw you on TV.
Yeah.
I actually saw you on TV
first.
first.
I had exited stage left.
Really?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So I was like fanning out when I actually saw you in person. I was secretly like, oh my God, all these celebrities. I was just like, wow. Yeah.
Well, before we start, you know I've loved you since Baby was in Pacifier. And I'm so happy to be able to be here with you today and be with you ladies also. Tabytha, we've been wanting to do this for a long time to have a conversation. So like, let's do this.
Yes, absolutely. And we will get into some very important things that I've seen that you have opened up about. But we want to light you up because I know you're nervous. Let it out. Take a breathe. Woosah. Like, what I will say about both of the guests today, you don't see them on a lot of interviews. They don't really talk.
Special.
Like, you see them, they give you face and they in and out of the scene or whatever. So, you know, people always they don't give all of that.
I don't need beans.
You know?
No animals over here.
Oh, no.
No animals over here.
I don't need beans.
No bean shaming.
No bestiality over
bean
here.
shaming.
No animals over here.
So,
They say, you're on the floor doing all that dirty stuff.
Remember how they used to tell us that? But so I want to say, so first let's talk about that, like your modeling career, you know, since we started at Model City, like, how was that being on
Honestly,
reality TV?
It was a culmination of all the years, the hard work, the sweat, and it just basically came together. Honestly, it wasn't supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. The producer that actually was doing the show was somebody that had been in the club scene with me. And a friend of mine, because they were actually looking in particular for a gay model. And my friend kept saying, Zeric. And Sean, the producer, was like, I hate that bitch.
Oh my God.
And he was like, exactly. Then I had a meeting with Sean, and you know, after about 2 hours, Sean was like, Zeric, I love you. He was like, I guess in a sense I didn't give you a chance, and you're not somebody that's easy to read or understand. And I'm like, and I'm a stone cold bitch if I don't know you. You know what I mean? Like that's my protective love language. I'd rather you not like me first, then get to know me. That way, you can decipher who's good for you and who's not.
Where did you gain that mentality from, or the guard that you put in front of you? Do you think that came from ballroom, or was you just always like that?
Well, both of my parents were very overprotective of me as a child. My mom's a preacher, and I basically was like indoctrinated into the cult of Christ.
That's the PK.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, let me explain to you why I said it.
Miss Sister Patrick. What's Miss Sister Patrick over here? You know, she.
Let me explain to you why I said the cult of Christ.
repels you.
No, Tabytha, literally, it would be Monday youth church, Wednesday Bible study, Friday choir rehearsal, Sunday 2 days, you know, early morning and Sunday, and then I gotta like go home and listen to her like read her Bible. It just was too much Jesus all the time. So it just was like, I can't wait to be a staff. I love you, Mom. Pray for me.
Okay. How's your relationship?
We are so good right now. And she asked about you all
because
the
I
time.
remember I remember going to Miami and stuff.
And you met her at a time that we was kind of like,
really?
Because she didn't, matter of fact, I came out to her at church.
At church.
This is how the
These
conversation.
some PK children.
I was going to say
They
the
rebellious.
PK.
At church.
That's the
Wow,
PK.
wait,
This is how the
church.
conversation
Tell
went.
us that
I was
story.
like, Mom, I'm about to move to New York and I'm gonna stay with my friend Yusef. He do hair. She was like, he gay? I was like, yeah. She was like, are you? I was like, yep. And she was like, no, you're not. It's a phase. I said, no, it's not, sweetie. I'm in it to win it.
Speaking of
Not to
that,
win.
like, so you were, I'm going to take you all the way back to a relationship, a very popular relationship you were in. It
Which
was
one?
you and a close friend. You and Justin were dating 2 people.
You are messiest.
I just want to ask this question to see how it has shaped your dating going further, because you were in popular relationships with two other individuals, and come to find out that those two individuals were cheating together on you and a friend of yours.
Oh, you're
She
getting
said
messy.
it, not me.
So,
But
and they end
elaborate.
up being together, those other two
For a
people,
long time.
For a long time.
Oh, no. Not
Because
the
I was
introduction.
praying for their downfall.
Oh my God.
Wheel on fire. The hoes was rolling down the road.
Okay. So how did that make you feel?
When you
dating
say that
a woman?
ironclad shit that I got in me now, that's where that came from. Because I think that when I first came, I was a flower child. Like, mind you, I'm from Miami. And during that time, it was like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera was like really popular. And I had like tapped into my pop era. So it was like, I was wearing them ugly ass Abercrombie shells and low-rise jeans with flip-flops and all kind of crazy shit. And like, you know, like, then they bring me into Atlanta that was like very like homo heteronormative. You know what I mean? So it was just like, and I was having a very cunty moment at that.
You was having a cunty moment.
Because that bitch actually looked at me and said, Zeric, you're gonna be trans. Because the eyebrows just kept getting sharper and sharper and sharper. I was having a good time. Like, I was in my blonde ambitions, and like, I was in love with him. And honestly, the funny thing was, it was at Stasha's spring affair ball. And I had a final exam that next morning, so I had to get back, like I had to leave. And I saw him on the stage, and I looked at him and was like, I'm gonna be in love with him. He hadn't even met me that night. And I called Kadan, and Kadan was like, Zeric, one of my friends wanna talk to you. I said, well, what about the little short one with the braids? He was like,
Who was the person?
We don't really want to give life
Fuck
to
her.
their name.
We love names.
But they're not involved with me.
No.
no, so like,
They're not involved with me.
let sleeping dogs lay.
Not the dog.
Let sleeping dogs lay down.
They hurt my feelings.
You was in love.
Oh, for all
I
5
think
months
that's
that it
where I
lasted.
seen you at. The first time I seen you was the spring. That was the first time you ever walked for the spring affair ball?
No, the first time I walked in Atlanta was when the Escadas had the Christmas ball. I mean, not the Christmas, the circus ball.
Okay.
At Tracks.
Okay.
Me and Delano, we won New Face that night. But then I think that was one of the next times that and mind you, I looked a mess that night too, because I took a shirt from Structure and cut it up and made.
But that mug was
doing
there.
some crazy
That
shit.
mug was still there.
Always. But I was like, Kadan, I want to meet this one. And like, he was like, oh, like, for real? And Vito actually picked me up from the airport and like brought me to him. And like, we was together for 5 months, and I was just like madly in love. But then also like, it was kind of like love in a hopeless place because we was kind of like in ecstasy.
Yeah, just having
Every
fun.
pun intended.
In ecstasy.
We,
That's when
literally- we would
ecstasy
leave,
was real big.
we would leave Tracks, go home, change, pop, go to back streets, and I wasn't even old enough to get in at that time. They would have to lick me in to like stamp me, and he would go to church, pay his tithes, then we come back to back streets.
What?
Yeah.
Backstreets, we was partying like
And
that.
I was at FIU at the time, and honestly, like I had like was like, oh, I'm gonna transfer to Georgia State. I want to move to Atlanta, and Justin called me and said, "Girl,
Justin, shout out to my son Justin.
another
Running
sleeping
to the
dog."
team. Oh my God.
How many dogs you got sleeping?
But
I'm gonna chime you
Damn.
down.
how much time you got?
Not how much time you got.
They hurt my feelings, and I
Dang.
never retaliated. This is not retaliation, but this is my story, and I finally get to tell it.
Yeah.
Let's tell
But,
it then. Yes.
Justin was like, "Bitch, our boyfriends go together, and they've been together for 2 months." I got on a $69 X-Fare ticket and was in Atlanta the next day. And he was like really into SpongeBob at the time. And he had gave me this SpongeBob SquarePants action figure. Bitch, I got in the car with that SpongeBob and was about to go to the house and like throw it at him or something and got a flat tire. And that's when I
Oh,
realized
shit.
that like the universe, regardless of if I was ever trying to get away from Christ or not, has always protecting me in some kind of way because it was just like, you know what, Zeric, let this shit go. So I fucked his ex.
Oh.
And we was together for a while, and I love him dearly. He's somebody who's always been
Bitch, I love you. Bitch, what you saying? I love him dearly. That's somebody that's always been special to me.
So they got what they got, and I got what I got.
So we're at three sleeping dogs.
What you say?
This is what I
We're
needed.
now at 3 sleeping dogs.
This is what I needed. Because, bitch, I know you some teas and people don't, they only see, you know,
And I'm
So-
not champion for votes, so I can say whatever the fuck I
you
want to
sure
say.
do, but you pay it,
I
but
love
you have
it.
stirred some people up.
Have I?
Yes, bitch.
Cool. They stirred me first. I've never turned a table that didn't turn on me first. Okay? Because mind you, like the whole house of Milan knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
You didn't know.
That's the last one.
Why did you leave the House of Milan?
Because of that. How the fuck can y'all sit here and call me y'all son, y'all brother, and all of this stuff, and like
Oh
not
my
even
God.
like give me a heads up? And at that time, I had a very tumultuous relationship with my real family. Let me tell y'all, my grandmother died. Y'all know what I did when my grandmother died? Got on a plane and came to Atlanta to walk Stewart's Ball because I felt more connected to that than I did my blood family at the time. So like, it just was like, nah, this is some weird shit. Like, being a Milan is not for the faint at heart. It wasn't, and because you know, like they was kind of like, get the fuck over it, get back out there, and I'm just like, nah, not for y'all.
Wow.
And guess what God did? What'd you say? God sent me an angel.
Ain't
I
God
know, I
always in
said-
it? Won't he do it?
I
Won't he?
said, I want him to walk with me. Call that, what's the one that just walked? I said, I need him to walk with me.
Because I was, I'll never forget. You remember the first time we met? We was at the Crowbar upstairs. I was with Jay Dutch from Detroit.
Oh,
because
yes,
he
yes.
was the one kind of who was like sending the message. Because he was like, Tempress want to walk with you. And I was like, what's Tempress? And I remember you had on like this like tennis skirt thing or something. And like they whisked her in and she was like, and she whisked her off. And like honestly, because we never practiced for that. I think they just, you sent the message, they got it.
Like,
You see, Tempress was like, have your people call my people. Because they was like, because mind you, I was in Backstreets that night too, and Black is my gay father.
Shout out
And
to
honestly,
Black.
out of that whole situation, like Black is one of the main people who I've always been able to stay with because, you know, like Black was like, Zeric, I know it was a fucked up situation, but at the same time, like, I love you and like, look at what it's done for you. I needed to be tough. I needed to get tough. You know, like I'd always been sheltered. You know, like I didn't come from no hard life stuff like that. So it was just like, all right, like man up a little bit. Like they did what they did, but oh well. But you know, when you called, I didn't even know the dexterity of what was gonna go on. I'm in Backstreets. Black came in and grabbed me out and was like, listen, tomorrow ain't nothing to play with. Like you gotta go home, drink some water, go to sleep, and get ready. They whisked me onto the stage. Tempress was like, hi, nice to meet you.
we didn't know.
We didn't know each other. Like she's lip syncing and they stand right here
And that moment still goes viral.
to this day.
Yeah, they still put that up. And then you became a Mugler, and then, you know.
Cause that
Is this like a Mugler reunion?
Yeah,
it
it
is. Because we all were Muglers together
Shout out
at
to
the
the
time.
Muglers.
Like,
but
yeah,
no,
like
because you were in a lure at that time.
yeah, I was in a law
Yeah.
at that time, and then I shortly after transitioning and stuff, I did become a Mugler.
And you called because mind you,
and
I had
was
been.
like, Zeric,
I left. Like I left. Because back in why you say public, because it was Walk For Me Wednesday was very popular during that time, and like the whole thing was just on the internet, and that was annoying as fuck. And I just, you know, I didn't feel like I had support from anybody, and I left. And I had gotten off, like people, because I'm from Miami, and we started a chapter of Milan in Miami. So I think what happened was, and then back in that day, Florida wasn't what Florida is now. So I think a lot of houses were like, well, Zeric, you can become a mother, father, start your own thing, or whatever the case may be. You know, I'm like, okay, great. But then Tempress was like, I think I'm about to make a merge. What's up?
yes,
And I was like, I'm down, but one person needs to call, and if that person don't call, then it ain't going down.
That was Whitney.
The next day. Wait. Hi, Zeric. Hi, Zeric. This is
Because
Whitney.
at one point they ushered you in and it was given, this is little Whitney to little Whitney. Like,
I didn't think that motherfucker liked me. Because the day we walked in the park, Sylvan was calling me Little Whitney.
Yeah, they was calling you Little Whitney.
Yeah, when your friend brought TK out after us.
Oh yeah, my gay mother, rest in peace. Miss Shaka brought this cut to get us.
Mike brought her too.
Yeah, they said.
This is Femme Queen, crazy, sexy, cool. And I need you all to like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to hit the bell button, because I'm going to be mad if you don't catch an episode. Mwah.
So you end up leaving ballroom.
Yes.
Like, period. There was a set of time that you left ballroom, and I'm just gonna jump into this because I know you want to get it out the way and talk about this. A lot of times on here we talk about drugs in the scene, and we talk about meth and drug shaming and things that happen in the scene. You have come out and you've talked about recovering recently in a previous interview, and we have talked about it. How did you get to that place of where you, with addiction, and what do you feel like community was there for you, or did you even allow them? And what can we do as a community when someone is in that space?
So, my grandmother and my cousin died 10 months apart. My cousin got killed by a drunk driver Thanksgiving night. I was already kind of like dealing with my grandmother's situation, and I didn't get to go to my grandmother's funeral because me and my dad got into a fight. He didn't want the day to be about me, meaning no punks allowed. But then when my cousin died, it just like rocked me. And I already felt like I didn't have the support of my family to grieve, you know what I mean? And so I went to the funeral, came back home, and just locked myself away and dealt with it on my own. But during the time Model City was like pumping, so Zeric had to be on. I was getting paid $2,000 to do three-hour walkthroughs at clubs to, you know, like be lonely and depressed in the VIP, looking great. So I'm drunk all these, you know, I'm flying all over the country, drunk all the time, like suppressing. But after a while, you break. And I mean, I'm a daredevil. I'm like, if it don't kill you, then was it that bad? That's kind of what my attitude was about at that point. And then, you know, like I had done ecstasy or smoked weed and stuff like that. But then the first time I actually did meth, I didn't even know it was meth. But then I can't recall the exact time or like when it actually happened, but like fast forward, I ended up almost being in a meth addiction for a whole decade.
A decade?
It was 10 years, almost,
Really?
on and off 10 years. It was one of my best kept secrets. I actually walked past a face legend on 14th Street crack the fuck out, said hi to him, and to this day, I bet you he didn't know that was me.
Really?
Well, first of all, I knew I was popular in the black scene and stuff like that. So you talk about segregation, segregated. I did not let anybody like us see me. I had a whole alias, a whole life that they knew. But it's how I was able to escape grief. I didn't want to, my cousin was not dead in that cloud. My grandmother was not dead in that cloud. And it just went on for too long. And honestly, towards the end, I'm telling you, like I had a dream and was like, you're about to get exposed. And I was like, whatever. And I was, you know, it was like, so tonight's gonna be a good night. I invited somebody into my personal space and they saw some things that they didn't necessarily need to see, and went back and told one of my friends that basically like Zeric does not look like how Zeric used to look, and I think he's about to die. And I can understand what they saw. I did look like I was about to die. I woke up the next day to my whole family cursing me out. My cousin was like, bitch, you a crackhead. We come to New York to kick your ass. Call my mom at work. And was like, Zeric is about to die. And Deshaun, if you ever see this, you know I cursed you out. I told you I hate your guts. I blocked you from everything. But I love you more than words can ever express, because had you not done what you did, I would not be here today. So I loved you then, I love you now, and I will always love you for forever. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
He saved my life. I mean, I cursed everybody out and got a lot more higher, did a lot more drugs, because I was like, well, fuck it, if I'm about to burn, I'm about to burn. But seeing my family reach out was all I want. There's this thing on, I think they call it like the rat experiment. What they did was they isolated rats in a cage with 2 bottles of water, one that was laced with heroin and one that was just basically plain water. And they saw that the rats that were isolated were continuing to drink the heroin water and they would overdose. But what they did was they put that same heroin water and plain water in another cage with rats that had community. And they noticed that there were no overdoses, and the majority of the rats always went for the clean water.
So would you say that, because we always debate on what we should do when someone is in crisis and someone is going through addiction, and I've had friends who are no longer here who've dealt with meth addiction.
People who were very close to us.
Who were very, very close to us.
Don't cry, 'cause I got my tissue right here.
Okay, fish, she'll do that. So I like, I stay by these people. I stay by their side. I let you do what you do, but listen, bitch, I'm gonna tell you every time I talk to you. So what can we do as a community? Should we continue to support these, like tell these people we're there and try to get them, like, what can you do? Like, what do you want in those times when you're in those isolated spaces and you're doing this? Like, because some people feel like, oh, this is too much, or they're pushing me away. Should we just go away or make sure we're there? Because it sounds like your community and your family coming for you made you go for that change.
It was all I needed, to tell you the truth, because I realized that, like, I was not alone. Now, first of all, with me, I was a special case because I closed all my borders. Like, I closed my borders. I did not want anybody in my business. I didn't want anybody to know. I basically supported myself since I was damn near 15 years old. So, like, I kind of was just like, well, what can my family really do for me? Like when my mom found out, the whole family had to pick her up off the ground. And I'm sitting here like, well, is this my damn intervention or hers? Because what's really good? But, like, first, you have to, like, let people in to what's going on with you. I could have kept this a secret for the rest of my life, honestly, as far as publicly talking about it. Like, my family knew, but, like, I didn't have to talk about this. I didn't have to bring this out into the forefront. But I was, matter of fact, like, I had finally gotten checked into I was in an outpatient program at the LGBT Center. Shout out to the LGBT Center, they do great work. And James and Tim were doing one of their talks. And
I met you.
Yeah, I heard James say, part of the problem in this community is all the fab people don't want anybody to know when fucked up stuff is going on in their life. We want to be praised, we want to be idolized, we want, yes, but, like, come about them dark rooms, baby, and let the people know who you really are. And, like, I wasn't ready then, I didn't have the language, but I sent James a message and said, you're talking to me. I can't talk to you publicly about this right now, but when the moment comes, I feel like it's my duty to be, because, the brand Zeric, or Zeric Milan, Zeric Mugler, like, he got his motherfucking life. I bust through when I bust through, and it was nice. But at the same time, like, Zeric was hiding inside of all that bravado and all that glitz and all that glamour, and he was not being taken care of. And he was the one that was actually really crying out for help. And, hearing James say that, I was like, people would probably flip their lid to know that I've been going through this,
I have 2 questions. My first question would be, what kept you comfortable with doing during your drug addiction? What kept you comfortable?
I wasn't comfortable. eventually the ball just starts rolling and you're on it.
That's it.
Before you know it, like, you know, like with me, I would be like, oh, I could stop this anytime I wanted to. But like, you know, like, so let me tell you something. I was having a good motherfucking time.
So
When and I'm not trying to glorify drugs, but like I
It's
don't
more
have
of a sex thing when it comes to math.
at times.
that wasn't the.
listen, y'all two.
No, we're not making light of it. You know, it's something we don't want to stay in the darkness.
You have to laugh
and stuff.
to not
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah, I have a, my next question.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. What made you know that you was ready to tell your story in front of everyone?
I'm a Gemini. I live in this duality of like, oh, I want a peaceful, quiet life. But then there's that like Marilyn Monroe factor also where like you live for the, you know, like I created this thing, you know, like I created this thing. And I felt like I had gotten so much adulation for being this beautiful person or all this. And it just was like, I have to tell this story because like she said, we've lost friends. Like, honestly, since I got clean, I've lost like almost 10 friends to drug overdoses. And I've been clean since June of 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had it all.
And you look good.
You look amazing. Skin.
Yeah.
It took a village. But quiet as kept. At one point, all this was burned off. I have like one scar.
Can't see it.
You can't see it. I was gonna get it erased, but I was like, you know what, bitch? It's like, no, I earned that. Because there's a reminder every day that like it healed. Keep it so you can remember. Don't you forget it. But like, what were you asking me again? I'm sorry.
No, you answered. You answered the question.
So I have two questions, right? So, to that, you've been clean now for 3 years, like, so, what was it that made you decide that you wanted to get clean? And as you are clean now, because I've heard stories about like people not being able to recover like parts of themselves as a result of using crystal meth, and is there a part of you that you lost, or what is different now that you're clean?
My sister had 2 babies. Like she had my nephew during the pandemic, and then she had another baby after that. And like, I just felt like it would be very unfair that all this life is coming into my family at this time, and they would have to grieve me. You know, and like, you know, my sister is, you know, very like homely lady, and I feel like my nephew and niece would have a very sad life without me. They need some kind of spark in their life. And like just seeing them, it like re-energized me to be like, wow, like, you know, like I would really have been pissed the fuck off if the suicide attempts and like the almost overdoses didn't work. You know, like I would have really missed out on life. Everything is temporary, you know, like nothing is that deep, you know, and like what happened in June of 2021 was I had like one of the worst, well, me and my mom are in a good place, so like I can tell this story. I felt like I have been doing the work. I'm doing the work, you know, like Ayana Van Zandt, I did my work. My mom did not call me and tell me happy birthday. And I'm just like, this is a symbiotic relationship that me and you've been sharing since June 8th, 1983 at 9:49 in the morning. So if you want to know my rising and my moon, you check that out. Like, she didn't call me. So I'm just like, what am I really doing this for? Like, if you're not gonna give a fuck about the life that you gave me, then like, okay. I got on the apps and I actually, on the way to where I was going, one of my friends that we hadn't been speaking for a long time, text him, message him, was like, I don't know how to fix us, but like, you know, like, I love you. Like, it pretty much was like a goodbye message. I didn't want to leave without him knowing. And I think I did like meth, LSD, Molly, G, like I did the whole cocktail. And I checked into a hotel basically and planned to never leave. And the reason why I checked into a hotel was because eventually housekeeping will come. And I felt like if I died in my apartment, then they won't find me for 2 weeks. Nobody got keys to my apartment.
Oh my gosh,
At least I would leave a pretty corpse. You know, and that was my like my mood about it. And it was my cousin's birthday, and she was calling me to be like, why you didn't call me to tell me happy birthday? So when she called me, it just like jolted me out of it. And like, I think she called my friend who's here today, Bolden, and was like, Zeric is in trouble. And he was at my house like within like a flash of a minute, and he just didn't say anything, laid next to me, and just basically like let me go through whatever I needed to go through. And like at that moment, I was just like, Zeric, you cannot do this. You cannot. You have to come back. And then what was the second question?
First of all, thank you to the cousin that called you at that moment.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you to both.
To the whole
Thank you
team.
to the whole
To the whole
team. Like you
team.
said, a village.
Do you feel like there's a part of yourself that you've lost while healing? Not experience, but yourself.
I'm still fighting to find me. Tabytha, I looked in the mirror and it was not nice to meet me. It was a rude awakening. Like, for one, every era that I had been in, from my childhood to my teenage years to my early days in ballroom to modeling, was a mask, a mask, a mask. I can wear it. I can put this on. I can become this. I can become that person. But because always I was suppressing Zeric. So when I finally decided to get clean, that was a very hard pill to swallow, because it's like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, now getting to know me. I love the fuck out of me now. We battle. We go through things.
You're a Gemini.
I slam my ass on the ground sometimes. I lock myself away. Like, you know, like even with this, like, I'm forcing myself to be. This was the reason why I actually decided to become public about it, because it was just like, I want people to meet me in all facets of who I am. And it's like, and if you live for me because I was this character, then like, how do you feel about me when you know who I really am? And like, to lay this on the table, it's like, you know, whether you want to judge me or not, I really don't give a fuck.
It makes people love you more.
Yeah, I was
love
gonna say,
you more. For
we
you to
hide
sit
our
here and
hardest
talk-
parts. Like,
Yeah,
even
we
with
all
your
do.
journey, like when you take power over the thing that you hide or the thing that you feel most shame from, it frees you to actually begin this new journey.
Yes, like I mean, we all have like a test. I mean, like I said before, I read something. It was just once you're going through it, it's a test, and then it becomes a testimony.
Yeah.
And you know, we all have things. Like you said, we wear this mask. And when you were saying that, there were different phases in my life that I was masking too. And I've talked about, you know, when I was dabbling in my little Coke era, and bitch, you know,
We've
I'd be
had
right.
a good time.
You know, but I've been clean for 4 years.
Won't you do it?
Okay, like
And it always go back there.
We didn't
Just
say
so
who
you
he
know.
was.
go back
Or she.
Go back with bitch.
God is true.
Oh God, oh God.
Amazing.
Yeah, God, I know it's a high battle.
This story about your mom really touches me, because that was one of my moments for me that I had to take a step away from ballroom, because I started to get really depressed. I noticed I was depressed. I noticed that I was going through a lot of things, because even when you said your mother didn't call you for your birthday, and how just that call impacted you. And that's one of the reasons kept me really dark. I started to become really dark. I wasn't loving myself. Thank you for sharing your story, and just how deep you went with what was the causes, what was the reasoning, and what kept you wanting to do drugs. You need to be numb to that feeling of your mom not calling you. That was one of the things for me. I hated drugs, but getting money was my drug.
A lot of people think addiction is just drug. Addiction
Yeah,
can
it's
be
a lot of
anything.
things. Yeah, that's why I
It
did
can
Coke
be
to get
anything.
the money. Like
It was the
bitch,
money for me.
Like it was like, bitch.
And I've watched and I've
backslash.
heard you talk about, like, you know, you had to survive at a very young age.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh,
that. Like,
somebody, they really be watching.
Yeah.
no, like I
I love
Yeah.
it.
Listen, I got Vanessa booked on this show.
Yeah, you did. She said, you gotta get Vanessa. Yes, you did. He's like, you
But
gotta
no,
get
that
Vanessa.
I
really-
support my friends.
Yes.
And I like to see my friends shine.
When did you decide to? Are you in therapy?
Well, not right now. I wasn't, because I was in therapy. Mind you, I stayed in rehab probably longer than I really needed to. It was because for one, I had already, like, I said this. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to just do 90 days on my own. I was clean for 90 days. One of my friends came through that, like literally the 90th day. And I was like, fuck it, I owe myself. I deserve this. But at the same time, like, I also realized that, like, I learned in recovery that, like, time clean is not necessarily like how recovery works. It's how you go through it. And if you do, relapses happen, you know, and a relapse is a part of recovery because you learn to, like, find out what your triggers are and, like, what, like, becomes the root of why you're doing it. And I realized that, like, when I did take that opportunity to do it, that I wasn't strong enough to do it on my own. And, you know, like, you know, sometimes in our community, especially then, I like the fact that mental health in our community is becoming a focal front. But, you know, it's just like, oh, I could therapize myself. I know what my problems are. I don't need to talk to nobody. I know what it is. But so the way that the center worked was, because I wasn't actively on drugs, I couldn't go to an inpatient. You have to, like, a lot of times with a lot of inpatient programs, you have to literally be on drugs to go. And then, like, the outpatient program at the LGBT Center was great because it was also during the pandemic where I can just be at home and, you know, like, just zoom in, and they made you basically, you had to, like, basically abstain from, you had to be abstinent from everything, sex, alcohol, drugs, everything. And they made you, you had to go to groups, and then you also had to, like, go to therapy. And in the beginning with the therapy, my love language is humor. Like, I like to lift every moment. So I felt like a lot of times in therapy, like, you know, I was joking around and, like, you know, and my therapist understood it. He never stopped it. But at the same time, like, after that bad relapse happened, I called my therapist and was like, listen, the jokes are over. This is serious. Like, and he was like, Zeric, I'm waiting for you. You know, like, the floor is open to however you want to deal with this situation. And I stayed in that outpatient program for 2 years. Just because, mind you, like, I was just like, I had been in this shit for a decade. Like, I need to really, like, unpack this stuff. And, like, I went all the way back and realized that, like, I had so much repressed stuff that I had bottled up that it just was like, let me let this stuff out. And, you know, like, the thing with my mom, she has not missed a birthday today. Me and my mom are like this now. Like,
your family is close. I love to see you with your brothers and sisters, and
I love
you know, with your family. But let's lighten it up,
yeah, why are we
down? Okay,
thank you.
bitch.
What I want to say before we liven up, thank you so much for opening up and talking and sharing your experience with us. It's sacred.
Yes.
You know, and when we have these conversations, it's very sacred. So I need you to know that there's so much value in what you've shared, and someone watching will be able to get those sacred tools that you learned. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Amen.
And for you that are watching, wherever you are, you don't have to stay in those dark rooms. Reach out to people, you know, like, let people know that you are still around. I think that's a lot of times what happens is, like, we don't want people to worry. But, you know, like, to this day, like, I have friends, like, you know, I don't have to talk to them every day, but if I don't send a meme within 2 days, they on my ass, you know, like, and I built those relationships now where my friends can hope. Like, the other night, I'm, like, kind of nervous about this interview. So it was like, I hadn't, like, slept because I'm trying to, like, I have pills and potions all over my face. And my best friend, Nikki, just came from the club and was like, why are you pacing in your apartment at 2 o'clock in the morning? What's going on? I was like, you trying to ask me am I on drugs?
No.
She was like, I'm not saying you want to, but I don't be knowing you to be rattling pots and pans at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then you don't want to get on FaceTime. I was like, listen.
Okay, you need something. That's me. I'm that friend who be like, wait a minute. I say that to people, to my friends that I know. I'm like, you're all right, cause I'm that person too.
And even some of my friends that I know still are in active addiction. You know, like, I don't, like, pressure them to be, you know, like me, and like they respect the space that I don't get to hang out with them as much as I used to, and that hurts. But at the same time, like I gotta put me first, Lucius.
Amen. Gotta put me first,
Absolutely.
Lucius. Stop scrolling. Like, click, and subscribe to Femme Queen Crazy, Sexy, Cool. And don't forget, hit the button at the right side so you'll be notified of our next episode.
That recovery is
What
one
was
of the
Zeric
hardest
like as a
things.
child? Like, what did you want to be? Like, growing up, you was like, I'm going to be this.
I was a dreamer. My childhood nickname is Wishman. When my mom had me at the Cult of Christ,
And here we are back to that.
I used to sit in the church, right? I used to sit in the church and like
church folks go get you.
disassociate and space out, and just like the pulpit was like a pageant or like a beauty contest or something like that. So I actually feel like I kind of manifested modeling and like ballroom through that, because I just have been dying to escape the cult. Like, I need to get out of there.
Can you stop saying cult, please?
The
This
cult,
is his
I'm
story.
just joking. I'm joking.
the Cult of Christ. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Where
Wednesday.
did- how did
No,
you
but I was very quiet. I was very shy. Like, I was very afraid of the world around me. My mom and my dad basically had me when they were in high school, and I was very sheltered. You know, like I was always like this little pretty little thing. Even my mom was like, Zeric, I knew something was going on, because the gays used to just love you when I had you out. And there's this baby picture of me when I was little. It's my first jeans, and I had on rainbow suspenders, and I was like, well,
You're ready for
you
some free me.
put me in the club.
Taste the rainbow.
What was some of your hottest battles?
Get 'em.
Who was some of your hottest battles? You think?
Myself. That's the hottest.
I mean,
battle
outside of your, in ballroom, in ballroom.
Well, I think it's pretty
I
much,
know. Everybody else doesn't know.
It's Josh.
Yeah.
It's Josh.
Okay.
Today's that
The
motherfucker.
y'all used to carry.
Carry on. So my first house was Milan. I came up in that gang. And Tony actually was the one who put me in a house in Milan. The first ball I ever walked, I got chopped in Miami. I was dating this guy. Literally, it was like right after that Milan ball in 2002 that happened in Atlanta. And then I met this guy that tracked me, and he basically became my boyfriend. And I remember they were all in the house, like, and they was living for Sanaya. Like, all they kept saying in the house was like, da, 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 da.
Tonight.
Yeah. And like one of the girls was his cousin and was like, Zeric need to be in the house. And, you know, I'm sitting there like, well, if we not in the house, then I don't understand what the fuck's going on. And they didn't really want me to be a part of it, which, looking back at it, maybe it was because I was in college at the time. They didn't want me to be, you know, a part of it or whatever the case may be. But then also, like, they would be in the club standing up underneath the lights so that the whole club could see them. And I was like, oh, y'all was just something about me.
Oh,
Something about me. Because I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know what I know now because I was a very insecure kid. But like they saw the beauty in me. And Tony came to Miami and was like, Zeric, come with me to this place. And literally grabbed me up for the face category. And they chopped me because I wasn't dressed. And like, but Tony was like, welcome to Milan. And that's pretty much how it happened.
You had a very, how would I describe? You're selling it. Like, you
Do I
wasn't,
sell
bitch, you used to carry. It's like you and Joshua would be throwing stuff at each other.
Okay, no. because so Tony, I think Tony Milan, like Christian Milan had just died.
Rest in peace, Christian.
Rest in peace, Christian.
I know it's
Christian Milan had just died, and I think like Christian was like the golden face of
Yes, he is.
Milan. So like I think that like there was a deficit in the face at that time for Milan. So that when they found me, they was like, it's okay, we could work with this. And like Tony used to just kind of be like, Zeric, you too fucking friendly. Them not your friends. Fuck them girls. Get them.
Yeah, they told you just that stuff.
Yeah. Cause like, you know, like I was having a good time. Like I would just bop around the balls, be like, hey, hi. Tony be like, ah. So like it fostered this thing with me and Josh where it was like we was just two pit bulls, and once they let us off our leash, then it would go. And to me, it was just like me and Josh are two totally different faces. I guess I have more like they would say like Eurocentric features or whatever, but I'm black. And Josh was just this very young, doughy-eyed, pretty-ass kid. So I just kind of was like, how do you judge this? It's pretty much a popularity contest at this point. And I was walking in Atlanta against him, and he was the Georgia Peach. And one thing I can say about Atlanta, bitch, they protect their own. You ain't getting through nobody in Atlanta.
That's when he was the Ebony, right?
Josh was an Ebony, yeah. But then they brought me to New York to walk the state ball, and I beat Josh that night. I beat them all during that time, actually. Shit, beat them all. And I was like, well, New York loves me. That's all that matters. Kiss my ass. Behind the scenes, I think that me and Josh made the collective effort to not let it deter us liking each other. I love him. He's super fun, and I appreciated the fact that, honestly, to tell you the truth, there would be no me in a sense if, ballroom is about rivals, and I think that we both have solidified ourselves in that era of history as the one and two faces. And especially we got a chance to grace the cover
of the legendary magazine that you, Whitney, and Josh.
Before Viral was viral,
that magazine was everything.
We need to make sure we put that on the screen.
Yes, we definitely gonna have to.
Well, actually, the crazy thing about it is we shot that 20 years ago,
and it's the
20th anniversary. There's a new cover that's coming out. It should be out soon.
Yeah, again?
I mean, we had something just a little fitting.
So this is cute that we put y'all together on this. That the way this worked
it's
out.
Timely.
Yes, that's so. What did you? So you left Mugler and came back, or you just had left the scene?
Well, when Whitney started to clean house, I got the fuck up out of there too. You won't leave me in the aftermath. And then I left because realistically, when I zero in on something, I have to be very tunnel vision about it. And so when it was ballroom, but then when I wanted to take my modeling career seriously, I had to leave ballroom alone and just really hone in on that, because again, I needed to take that mask off and put this mask on. Somebody actually sent that Ballroom Rockstar magazine to my agent and was like, this is what y'all signed. And my agent is French, and he was like, "Oh, Zeric, why you not send me this? This is editorial. This is for Paris." And I was like,
they thought they was turning it. Yes.
Bitch.
Oh my God, why do they be trying to turn it? The girls are so
It's
so tired. That's why we were talking about that, about leaving the scene. I was like, when I was coming up, everybody who kind of was having success outside of ballroom would leave a lot of times. The Milans, when they were styling, they would leave. People who were doing outside things, they would always leave. And sometimes, Adrian was talking about, we battle with staying in the scene, because sometimes I feel like we want more for the scene than the scene wants for themselves. Yeah. And sometimes it's you're preaching to a deaf ear, and is it going to make a change?
And you were a pivotal part of that also during that time, because it was we had our ballroom fun, but we hung out. And you were always Zeric, go for that shit.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody stop you from doing what you want to do. Go for it. And you was just don't get caught up in no hustle shit, because you're gonna love the money and you're not gonna do shit out.
I tell everybody, I've been a stickler for that, because I want people who come behind me to do better than me. So I've always been, people thought that I was just a showpiece mother, but people understand, bitch, we was in the bud, we ate together, we hung together, I told y'all to go after y'all shit.
Yeah, if you know Miami, I had Tempress over town in the hood. We would be on South Beach, let me show you the real Miami. My grandmother met Tempress, and honestly, even when my grandmother was on her deathbed, she died right before I got one of my first major modeling gigs, But like she knew I would be always. She'd be like, "You need to take me one of them fashion shows you go to at the balls." She's like, "You need to take me one of them fashion shows or something." And I was like, "Why you want to go to that?" And she was like, "I think it'll be something good for me." But I think that like she never got a chance to go, and she never saw any of it. But like I think that when she met Tempress, she kind of was just like, okay, like she met Tempress and she met Rose, and like my grandmother was like, at least you have like these ladies in your life that care about you and are there for you. So like when y'all feel like the men don't appreciate y'all, I'm one of them that does because like fuck these niggas. They just.
I get that from a lot of like, so like lately that's been the narrative, like those men. And when you say that, right, there's a saying that, oh, they don't love us. What do you think is the divide that more men like you are not showing up and speaking to that?
I mean, I think honestly, like it's a generational thing. I think that like, I don't know if it's like some kind of way parenting.
This is Skip.
Because we're the new parents. If I had a child, I know mine would be fucked because I've been dipping and doing it for so long. But no, I don't know really. Honestly, I don't know what it is. But like, I think for one, I think respect is reciprocity. So we're going to have this real conversation. One of the problems that like I was kind of having when I came out, like it was Tempress and it was Vanessa who were like the femme queens that were like heavy in my life. And then there was like Rose. But then I felt like there was this thing that like when they would go through stuff, they would try to use the boy, like where basically like I belong to them. So like there would be girls that like to get at you, they would try to like get at me or like, or like, and like, like sometimes the girls will say like, oh, like my butch queen, or like I gotta get me a butch queen, or that never really set well with me because bitch, I'm not yours. Right. I'm mine. Right. And you're not my femme queen. You've always been my friend. Right. You've always been my sister. So I think that like, and I know you're heavy on language. So like, that's always been my thing where like, you are the women in our lives. I appreciate we don't belong to y'all. Y'all don't belong to us, but we are a unit together.
Some of the girls are like overprotective.
Like, don't treat me like state property. And I'll continue to treat you like the queen that you are. Even if you don't treat me, even if you are treating me like state property, I'm going to treat you like the queen that you are. But I think that like, it's a catch-22. We have to respect each other for who we both are.
I think it sounds like, well, I noticed what my generation, we looked at it as we were doing that because those butch queens were all we had.
And sometimes they want to be that.
So it was like at a point where that was like, those guys were all we really had. We didn't really have, we weren't really close to our families. The people that wiped our tears were those men. So when they shared new friends, we didn't just become protective, we got territorial over those friendships because without them, it's like some of us didn't know how to make it. Like those were the conversations. Those are the people we were able to have those conversations. We would be able to be real. They rolled the body. If you got your body done, you got your, so your body, they rolled you with the pen. Like you went to those people, those butch queens, for real. They saw the real you and they knew the real you.
So we're going to pivot soon. I know that we have to, but that speaks to something that I had discovered when I was in Houston, that there is, when we talk about the gaps in community, there is a big gap when women like Tempress and other like women who were actually nurturers and actually there to help the younger ladies, they fell back. And the girls kind of really only had like these butch queens to tell them how they should be because the women had fell back. And maybe the next time we can get into like what that looked like in that experience, because there are a lot of girls when they say the thing, bring back the femme queens, they left.
And it was also before that generation. That was the generation where it can only be one girl.
Yeah.
So it was like, bitch, if you my tribe, you my tribe. Like, so that's how.
We're gonna get into that on next one.
And let's be real, ballroom is not a safe space. So that's why. It's not a safe space, and that's why a lot of the girls leave and a lot of the boys leave too. Like, I'm not spending all my money to come to some shit that's gonna be shut down before 12 because Fucking animals can't control yourselves.
The animals are getting out of control. I said it.
Everybody needs to be on lorazepam.
On the recipe.
Rabies
So
shots.
we're gonna go-
Need some rabies shots.
We're gonna go.
a lot
We're
of
gonna
rabies.
go to. We're gonna come back, and we're gonna bring Whitney back, and we're gonna go to the Gold Bowl.
El escándalo.
Oh.
Yes.
She's doing the cha-cha. See it?
This is Femme Queen, crazy, sexy, cool. Don't you forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, press the bell so you can get your notifications, darling.
The gold bowl, the gold bowl. This bitch digging in the gold bowl. The gold bowl, the gold bowl. This bitch digging in the gold bowl.
You are now tuning into the Gold Bowl, and you don't want to miss this. The shade starts now.
And we're back, but before we go right into the Gold Bowl, the conversation that we was having off camera, is could you go back into that?
Yes, like during when you started telling your story, honestly, I was like, I need to call my therapist. I mean, I cannot wait to speak to her on Wednesday. I have a therapist on every Wednesday, but just I just noticed then it was just like maybe that was one of my issues and still one of my issues. I knew back then my mother's relationship, her not being so the mother I needed her to be, and me feeling left out without that guidance really bothered me and still was bothering me because some things that I needed, like I just wanted that advice that I didn't want to give anybody else. Like I didn't want to receive that from anyone else but her, and she never pulled up with the energy that I needed, and which left me depressed. And just hearing you talk about it, it was just like I almost was in tears a little bit when you were speaking, because it really was. I was like, damn, that still bothers me that I'm one of those individuals that my mom wasn't able to be that person. And I understood with therapy, with healing, I understood she had her own trials. In what is it? Trials and tribulations.
It's called the mother wound.
But I had to realize at that moment that my mom, in healing, I realized that my mom was also going through her own healing, that she needed to, her own stuff, that she's not able to be that individual that I needed.
Parenting book.
No,
it's not.
There's no book. There's no.
And I know, Whitney, you said you was, as a child, you was.
Yeah, so the other half of that story with Tanae in my closet, she ended up finding Tanae and ended up kicking us both out. So I was out on my own since I was 17, and there was like no turning back, and I had to become a survivor, you know? I would say I was homeless for one day, but after 24 hours, I had to quickly snap it into place and be like, okay, what are you gonna do? And thank God for friends, Karen, CoverGirl. She opened her home up to me and Tanae before Tanae then went to live with Avis, and then I ended up moving out. So yeah, it's really hard when your parents kick you out. Like that could be such a dangerous thing, because I just pray to God every day that I stayed out of, I didn't get into a lot of things that I could have gotten into. Let's just say that.
And that's, I definitely, we always talk about my Women's Month, and I want to get these two individuals that were very important in my life, and I just want to thank you both, Leilani and Maya. Like, I was basically homeless for 24 hours too. I was sheltered completely, like, in gospel, very sheltered, like strict. My mother didn't even let me outside. Wow. And
That
went
close to
straight
Christ.
from that to the street.
Jesus.
And I went straight into survival mode. I'm so thankful that God poured into me just the type of individual that I am today, because for those two people, I'm glad that I didn't get into drugs. I didn't get into a lot of things because of those people, but also because I just wanted better. I don't know what it was. I feel like I had an angel on my shoulder or something,
Right,
but
definitely did.
I'm just so thankful that I had those two individuals, because after 24 hours, Leilani put me and Maya in her house, and we struck it through. We struck it through. Mind you, Maya didn't even need a place to stay, but because she saw how fragile and what was going on with me, she wanted to stay with me. And she stayed there in so time.
We talk about the negative things, but what I will say is that when community needs to show up, well, in those times, And I'm sure that it still happens. A lot of times we do try to denounce that, but we do forge this family that pulls us together.
And I gotta, you know what? Today, I'm going to apologize. And Tempress is always saying ballroom is family, and I concede. I was going to say earlier, but I'm going to say here
because you do be giving it up like.
She'd be like, no, I never had that.
No, because I see
we're dysfunctional family at times.
Because ballroom is very like it kind of does look like a organization now, like straight up. But I was being who I am today is because I have family in ballroom because of that. So I do believe that both are important, and I definitely want to apologize to ballroom and say that it is not just about organization. It is also about family.
It's this unspoken bond too. Like when you were part of families that really was family and stuff, no matter how long we don't talk or see each other and stuff, those people that I was connected to, I will always be. I remember Whitney first coming. I've always wanted Whitney vote, and in the beginning, like for a time, I always got Whitney's vote. Yeah. And then, it was that time.
You wasn't getting it.
I ain't get it.
I think it was at one point Whitney was like, "This little bitch Zeric is coming for me too." Because I was like, "I want." You remember this during the pandemic? I hit you up and said, "Whitney, my friend will give you $1,000 if you."
If you do what?
What? Wait a minute. Pop the tea. What? Hold up, what?
I sent Whitney a message. It was like, my friend will give you $1,000 if you like, what'd you call me? Like if you like storm me at a ball. Whitney said, "Hey Zeric, I miss you and I love you. Hope all is well."
Whitney is very that, baby.
I'm not here for the confusion.
No, Whitney was like, "Bitch."
That's where I learned politically correct and not causing too many problems. Now I did learn. Like, you know, that you say your shit, but you do got to think about your kids got to walk at a time. So you don't want to just, like, you know, say fuck you to everybody.
No, but I always used to feel like Whitney used to be like, "Bitch, I'm not coming off my cherry to throw tomatoes with y'all."
Right.
But because I adopted that too, because honestly, when Exotic was ushered in, they used to want to be like, "Oh, Zeric, you and Exotic." And I used to be like, "Whitney didn't give it up. I'm not giving it up either."
No, first you let them come for you, honey.
But we not like, but I noticed that the Butch Queen faces are like y'all girls will get out there and get it. Once we get on our throne,
y'all don't be back out. Yeah, they be giving no me. For a
while.
They just for a while.
25 years.
I think it's just like the art of it. Like I'd like to just get up and carry on. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you know some people used to say, "No, girl, you want to stay there," because when they start taking it away, if somebody start beating you, then you know they start to. I'm like, bitch, they can't take away what I've done. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and I just still want to have fun. So yeah, I think you guys. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about before we could do that after the go ball. Yeah. Let's get to this go bowl.
This bitch right here, the go bowl.
Is the question separated or have it?
Oh, I don't know. I have nothing to do with it.
It's not
so I saw you over there adding more stuff.
I get So to be honest, I get questions from different people from like
everybody.
Yes, that's a community.
Yeah.
She's a community. That's a community.
So be careful.
So basically our names are on it, folded. So once we grab our name, we got to unfold it and see what happens.
I love that Whitney knows how the game. I love that. Whitney knows our game.
The go bowl. This bitch digging in the go bowl. Let me dig.
Okay, come on, Jack.
Look, there's no shots, so guess what that means? We spilling it.
Excuse me, y'all.
How you say?
Excuse me, y'all. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Since you don't drink, you gotta answer them all.
Yes, very that. Yes, very that.
Oh, I could not wait to
those
put
are
that
nasty.
Thank you. Let me see.
Bitch.
Oh, you need those to actually see.
Yes.
I remember I used to block. Whitney used to teach us so many things. I know I was blocking with the napkin. Whitney had the block towel.
Okay, so
like here, use this.
We're telling the story off camera. So when they recruited me to the House of Mugler, I came out in Philly when I debuted. So it was like, Whitney got to paint you to put you through. So Javante's in the other room with his mint julep on.
That's my bedroom.
Oh my God, mint julep.
So Whitney's in the bathroom painting me down.
Boots.
And like Whitney has this like, we're not telling you.
Can't give all the secrets away.
But like he was doing this thing, and like Tempress would just like come and pop in the bathroom.
She was peeking. She was being nosy.
And like
I was making sure that it didn't go
Wait,
overboard with.
Whitney would, like when Whitney would go turn around, I would be like, and then like I'm like, Tempress, save me. She had to finally come and be like, okay, wait, that's enough, goddammit.
Wow. Well, let me tell you.
I won that night.
Yes, you did. You won. But let me just tell you a little secret. Octavia taught me how to paint.
I was
That's one thing
sitting.
she left with me before her passing.
But the good thing about your
Women.
paint, so the difference I feel like, because now they talk about should Butch Queen's paint and all that stuff. I feel like the difference about the Mugler's paint and your paint and stuff as Butch Queen's is that you didn't just see a bunch of paint. Like, it didn't look like
look
you're
natural.
painted.
Yeah.
It gave very natural.
Right.
It wasn't like you're contoured or you're this, you're that. You know,
Right.
so
And like how
that's
Whitney
the
was saying
difference.
earlier, where like when you come to like Mugler at that time, you went through
You went
a
through a
metamorphosis.
yeah, but
See, in Milan, like I was walking washed face because that was used, like it was like like I'm washed. But Whitney was like, I think you just really want to get up in my mug, bitch.
Hey, it happened. But just to let the clear the record and to set the story straight, half the times I won, I was washed. So people think that
it's
it's
was always-
always paint. It
No.
was not always
No, it's not.
paint.
Because I tell you, like I used to get into. And I remember we was in Puerto Rico one time, and we went to the beach, and I was
Tanning. We were tanning.
and I
boots.
said, bitch, why do you wear makeup?
So
He
yeah.
was like,
Yeah,
Zeric,
and
I do whatever the fuck I
yeah,
want.
I'm seeing Whitney down. What you think is your downtime don't look like downtime
No.
to other
Downtime.
people. So
Right.
yeah.
Amazing.
All right, let's get into the Gold Bowl. This is a cool question. Being that there's a positive narrative about you in the public eye, what advice would you give to the youth to follow the same path? Stay out of bullshit, mind your business, drink your water, and moisturize.
That's all I drink is water and Hennessy.
That must have been.
He missed that part.
That was like a cool.
That was
That was a
cool
cool
question.
question.
That was real nice.
Oh no, the cool is cool.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, the cool's
see
not
how
real
she do?
cool.
No, I'm saying the gold.
They was here for the scandal.
Yeah,
You see how she
because
do?
she secretly be sneaking them in. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You don't write them, but you give them ideas. Whitney.
Only this time. No, I'm just kidding.
This is a crazy question. What one person that you battled that you didn't see it for?
Ooh.
Pin
You
drop.
didn't see it for Tony. You know you did not see it for Tony.
He had a couple.
He said one time.
Okay, I won't talk about the recent activities. I will talk about, there's no shade, but I will talk about, and recent could mean,
What do you talk about? You tired of the people getting through on sympathy and payola?
I will talk about, when I mean recent, I mean within the past decade, so you do with that what you want. But, sip your drink, Tempress.
Wait,
You know, because the people be, they
Yeah, I know they drag it, but
they be putting me in it. I ain't answer the question for saying.
let's just say it was Tony Milan. Like I just didn't think, compared to, we both have two different looks. And I know he was walking face before I was walking face. I didn't start seeing him winning face until I started winning face, but
Come on.
That's
Who said that
just
back before
Ajane.
Ajane? She
That's
may
just
have
a
been
different-
walking face.
But
But
she
also,
wasn't
like,
winning.
John's thing became, it was personal.
it was a person, but it
for
wasn't
y'all.
personal to me.
No, it
No,
really
people
wasn't.
do that.
It was personal.
I remember in Atlanta, they called y'all outfits. Y'all was walking
Yeah.
around the table. Y'all was
Yes.
carrying.
No, because it really hurt him when I became, like, I think he wouldn't have gave a fuck if I went anywhere. But, like, for me to come, but for me to come to you, that really
At the
hurt
time,
him.
it was like,
Oh,
where
that
else
was
would you
viral.
go?
What, I mean, where the hell else could you go?
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. All right, let's dig in this gold bowl. Tempress wants a scandalous question. I already know. Sexy. Name
you
3
got
butch
away.
queens in the scene that you dated.
Ooh,
You got away with it.
Don't go way back
Got away.
either.
It's
We
4
want some new of you.
Yeah, it's 4 questions today.
No pun intended.
I was about to say.
New meat.
So
None of that old meat.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't date in ballroom. I'm being honest with you. I don't. After Van Thing Extravaganza, I kind of stay away from dating people in the ballroom scene.
Okay.
However, I will give you a nugget of gold. I will give you something So you can walk away with it.
Something.
One person that I admire in this scene,
Okay.
Tabitha, you were gonna say something?
No, I just
Interrupted
It
something.
got so quiet you can hear a
Damn.
rat piss on cotton.
right.
I will say Nick Allure.
Oh, really? Okay.
This
Let
one's for
me
you.
find out.
No, he is a very handsome.
I'm also gonna meet them in a few.
Thank you, Nick.
That's a
That
gentleman.
donation
He
was
is a gentleman. And I
Yes,
think,
he is. I love him.
yeah, I'm attracted to that. So
Yeah.
He's very handsome.
Okay.
go for it.
I was so was the people lying.
You're
'Cause
not beating them light-skinned men allegations.
Niggas the best. I told your ass to get
Hey,
outside.
y'all heard me? He not beating them light-skinned men allegations.
Well, I mean, it just happened.
And he's tall.
Okay,
And smart and smell good all the time.
And he's
all of the above.
Nick got everybody one.
I know it's only 3 questions, but I'm gonna go for
No, she
it.
said it was 4.
Oh,
You
you really want me to pick this? Let's see. Oh, this is a cool question. So, name all of this.
Oh, no, don't do that. I'll answer that one for you. For me. Shady.
Oh.
Is it
None.
really cool?
Name all of the surgeries that you've had, Botox and filler included.
that's not even the question I wanted. That's not even the question I wanted.
Girl, that's not a question you
Oh.
No.
That's
Let me
not
sit the bowl in your lap.
Oh no, it's another one dangerous in here.
Oh, it's another one in there for
really?
you?
We'll get to it after Zeric, though. I do want to see all the questions. But just for the camera, I am not going to name all the surgeries, but I will say Botox and filler are my friend. Okay.
That's enough.
That's
I've
enough.
heard you talk about
It ain't none of that business.
That's
That's
kitchen
fine.
table talk between me and you.
My baby's got a secret.
Didn't they say y'all have the secrets though?
Wow.
you wanted some questions, Larry.
Tempress. We have to
This
have a
one is
talk.
crazy. Do you believe, do you believe Josh was ever competition to you? Do I believe?
Here we go.
No.
Josh, they said you want to come up here.
No.
No. But I said what I said.
But by the way, shout out to Josh.
Shout
Josh
out to
looks
Josh.
great.
Josh
No,
looks
yeah,
good.
like,
Josh
he looks
good. I seen
great.
him.
I
He
love
looks
Josh
really
dearly,
good.
but like, I just kind of felt like,
Say it.
there's Nigel, there's Whitney, there's Adonis, there's me, there's Jaden, there's Exotic, there's Noah, there's Wyckoff, there's a certain level of like statuesque model's face that like can translate into fashion for me.
So you
That
like
was
the-
face.
You like
But
model
like,
face.
yeah, I like model's face. Now Josh does have face, but like Josh was like a pretty face, and there's also a lane for pretty face too.
Just wasn't your sweet. You just.
He just wasn't my kind of face. And maybe because they always used to let him beat me too. Shit.
like bitch. Okay. Maybe like bitch.
No.
Be
Since
that.
we're talking about it.
No, because look, I just recently saw that video that we was throwing the towels at each other.
Yeah,
I'm
y'all
watching
was carrying the-
I'm watching the damn tape, and Vito up there cheering like, ah! I hit Vito up and was like, bitch, you was laughing too.
It's your fault.
Look, I was doing that too. Bitch, I seen you in that thing.
Happy
That was
birthday,
like-
Vito.
That was years ago. Happy birthday, Vito.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Vito.
birthday.
Vito was like, yeah, bitch, you just left the house. You was going to
Yeah,
get done in.
yeah.
I was like, damn.
Josh also had that confidence.
Yes.
Like, Josh
Yeah.
showed it like a
Yes, he
fifth
Yeah.
bitch. You get in your motherfucking face, bitch. Like, bitch, you see it, bitch.
And you know what else?
He was like,
Honestly,
okay.
I was envious of Josh a little bit too, because Josh had the freedom to be cunty and free
Himself, yes.
as he wanted to be, because it like I looked masculine, you know, like I had this body, and like, you know, like they were like, no, like Zeric, you gotta like, because that's why you like, you don't see me on tapes flailing my arms up in the air. Like that's not my ministry. I just can't do it. You know, like I'm gonna be like,
But you, sometimes you like been off
I
a
like
little
a
bit.
little bit. I know y'all gag when y'all saw me in Nicola's prison. Oh,
But it was
Yes, yes, it
You
was.
I was living for that.
It was
I
the-
was on the judge's panel like,
Y'all was the first two people that I saw.
Me and Tempress was like,
oh, I think you look good.
Hey, sexy. What keeps the spark alive in your relationships? Humor and a tinge of drama. I'm like not easy to deal with. Like I'm very moody, and like you kind of gotta kind of be able to put me in my place almost. Like
Are you, so would you say submissive?
I play submissive very well.
Okay.
Ooh.
That was 3? That was 2.
That was
Two.
2.
Crazy. Who is an individual that walks face that turns your stomach?
Oh.
Damn!
ooh.
Bitch.
2 shots if you're on
You gotta answer.
Bitch.
Who's an individual that walks face that turns your stomach every time you see them walk?
Oh no.
He will definitely answer this question.
He probably
Turns my
He said earlier he doesn't need he doesn't need judges.
turns my
Okay.
stomach.
Oh, it's so deep.
okay.
Can
I
somebody
love
play
all the girls and all the
Jeopardy
girls. Like,
Can somebody play the Jeopardy song?
Who's somebody? Okay, because that is deep. Because I don't know if anybody turns.
yeah, nobody turns my stomach. I mean, I made it publicly known that I never really thought that Jason ever could beat me for face. Like me and you in a good place right now, but when it came to having face, she ain't at it.
I love the way he acts and stuff.
Beat around, John. Beat around.
Thanks for that.
What'd you say? Beat around, but that's it. Tempress. I adopted
The
flavor,
accents.
the theatrics. Cool. What should the new generation look for when joining a house? Kindred spirits, honestly. And it depends on what you're joining ballroom for. If you're looking for a family, then you should, maybe not rush to join a house. Talk to people, see how they feel about their houses. Look at how the door swings from both ways. What's the turnaround?
Okay.
That is important.
That is very important. Is it a revolving door?
Right.
Coming in, who's going?
Who's going? And the attitude behind it after they go.
Okay.
That's
you
a
know
big
what
one.
I also noticed?
That's a big one.
Look and see who's going up for you when you ain't in their motherfucking house, bitch.
Oh,
I go
yeah.
back and look
Oh, yes.
at some of the people. I be like,
yes.
you know what? I should have never went to these motherfuckers. I should have stayed with because these motherfuckers always go up for me.
Oh, yes.
Cool. What was your least favorite part about being on Model City? I fought on camera.
He's a battle cat.
I had gotten to the point where nobody was gonna fuck with me, and then especially at the fact that I had already come out on the show and I was the gay boy, and I think they were trying to create this narrative of there is no punks in fashion, because I used to just let's be real, during that time, the roof was not where it is. It had not raised to the point where it is now, where they're letting us be visible like that. I had to really fight the fuck hard. People that knew I was a part of it. For a lot of times, I used to look at it like this. If I would go to a casting and it was a black gay person that was doing the casting, I charge it to the game.
Because you were stealth at that time. I mean, that was in the times where you couldn't just be
Yeah,
okay,
I honestly wanted to do hip hop. For instance, doing that Keisha Cole video, or a lot of the times, my stuff was very hip hop adjacent. But then, when straight editors saw me, I never had a problem. It just was the people that knew me from the community. I didn't First of all, they wasn't getting me in that casting couch, or they wasn't getting nudes from me. You know, like actually, because like honestly, like I was shooting with a photographer and I was signed with Red at the time. And I remember like the photographer was telling one of the agents at Red Modeling Agency that the photos were coming out very good. And he was like, I don't care about that. I just want to see the pictures of Zeric with his dick and his ass out. And I was like, you nasty ass faggot. Like,
You heard it from here. It goes on.
no, and like honestly, that was another part of the least favorite parts about
Was you
it.
ever invited to any of the parties?
Was there enough baby oil?
A very famous fashion designer that a lot of people were invited me on a date and invited me to his hotel room and asked me if I wanted to make love. I didn't.
So you hold on to this.
I didn't do it, but I went in his closet and got a Dolce & Gabbana jacket.
Oh my God.
I knew that's who you were talking about.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's all right. I knew.
I didn't say which one.
All right. We're gonna go for a fifth question.
Okay.
Sexy, what's your secret fetish?
That's another one for you.
My secret fetish.
The girls be grooming.
Pay it.
You know, one came to mind. But
Okay, you want
tell
to
it.
answer that one
No.
for me? You answer this one for me? Let's switch one.
I will say I like a man with nice hands. Not saying that
Would you like
I
to
get
do?
off on hands, but to me that's like the first thing to make me look at your hands. I know that you take care of yourself and that you're clean. Look at your nails. So I guess hands would be one. I'm trying to be very politically correct here.
Sexy. Do you enjoy group sex or sex parties
Y'all
more?
are carrying.
Did y'all assume that I?
Y'all are
I guess I said, bitch, you party that played. You
I guess the goal felt
Did
about
I
your staring.
speak the
It felt about your staring.
We know who we're talking to. I like carefully curated groups of like-minded individuals in the houses that I go to.
Right.
Carefully curated sessions.
That was a nice way to put it.
Just leave the go-go alone, y'all.
Okay, but James, go ahead.
Because they got you
was it?
together.
Y'all, just let it go.
What was it?
Well, we got, there's a lot.
Okay, y'all
You
put
got
a
to
lot
keep
in there.
answering them.
Y'all can answer
We
them.
did say that I did say I was going
Yeah,
to
we did
answer
say we was gonna be
all the
transparent,
questions.
yeah.
This is a crazy question. Is it true that one of the reasons you felt comfortable leaving the House of Mugler was because Shannon Garcon was going to fund the house? That is incorrect. That is
Shannon
not
Daddy.
true at all. That is not
I know
true
they
at
think I
all.
wrote it, I swear.
No. I didn't think you did, but that's not true. That's false.
Oh, no.
Shouts to the House of Garcon.
We got through
Shout
it.
outs. Yes, we did.
Yes, y'all did. This has been a time.
Wait,
There's
and
one
Jason,
more
don't
question.
go online and read me and
Okay,
block me
bitch.
and stuff. They asked.
I
love you.
That's Jason child. Jason told me she gonna get back and didn't come back. It's okay. No.
There's still room for you here.
No, he didn't hit me back. No more room.
Oh, you was trying to get him on here with us?
Oh my God.
Set up.
Oh,
That would have been a
no.
fabulous panel.
No, but one thing I will say, we did that Butch Queen Face panel. Like Jason called me and said he wanted to do it, and that was one of the best days ever. Like all this,
That was amazing. That was
the shit,
amazing.
like
Jason is doing his thing. So
no,
shout out to
like
Jason and
Jason,
Cheerleader where he
yeah,
is carrying,
like Jason created that character, and that there's that public persona that Jason likes to put on, and that's what when me and him didn't agree, but Jason in this community has really done a lot of amazing things, and that day that
Shouts to Jason.
that day that
Run
you did
for office.
that day that he created that Butch Queen Face panel was so good
Yeah,
to
that was a good
just
one.
us
It
to
was.
sit and
It
hang
was.
out and we wanted you to come, but you was booked and busy.
No, I can't come on a weekday at work. Gotta work, gotta make my money.
You've
So
learned
we
that
love
from
y'all, and this
earlier.
has been amazing. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about before we go off, or anything you have coming up, or just anything you want to say to the people before we go off?
For me, stay tuned. I do have some things coming up down the pike later on this year, so stay tuned.
Ooh.
Are you gonna give me that moment? Yeah.
You
What moment is that?
That $1,000.
After that last
Oh my
moment,
God.
you didn't see Whitney.
Whitney ain't ever coming back. Me
Not
either.
true. No. People always say that they heard I retired. If you didn't hear it come out of my mouth, I did not retire. So you just
Oh,
never
boy, you
know.
heard it here first.
You just never know, depending on the category, depending on the coin. If it's something that's going to interest me, then I will come back out. So.
That foot was wearing me out like earlier, and it's wearing me out now.
I remember I said it was a
I
leprechaun.
was trying to get her.
Well, 'cause she was tapping.
It was like,
She was like,
I was trying to get her, but she was like talking, and I was kept trying to look at. She was
oh, no,
not
she be like
looking at
this.
me.
Wait, she be like this. She be like this. She be like,
Yes, and she'll be looking.
I'm like, what is that?
Which we,
Get my gold. Get my gold. Go. Give me my gold. Where's the gold?
What I'd like to say is that, like, for anybody who is going through anything, or you know somebody that's going through something, like, reach out to them, because all it takes is just knowing that somebody cares. And I'm an open book. If you can, I'm sure they'll put our social medias on here. So, like, if you ever want to reach out to me and, like, just in confidence have somebody to talk to, like, I'm always there for anybody who just needs somebody to, like, just be there for them and understand what they're going through. Because, like, I've lost too many people, and there's too many people in this community that, like, you know, they go missing and we don't see them, or, like, you know, they die and they was our brothers, how much we love them. But, like, let us show you how much we love you, and, like, you know, just reach out. You're not alone.
Oh, y'all don't know that song.
I don't know that song. What song was that?
What's the song?
I'm an overcomer, I've been set free, something like that. But this has been a
church. The culture.
She was taking it to church.
No matter what, we can't leave that
What
culture
church
right,
was
'cause
that?
I heard you over here talking about Jesus.
What church was that?
When it gets serious, you was Jesus. Lord, God, get me through this shit. Lord, please help me.
They sure know how to call on the name.
I was on a plane one time that dipped like 30 feet on the way to Orlando. Everybody pulled out their rosaries. Like, God, if you give me, throw it, I believe
But
her.
y'all let that you go, and they will not depart. Even if we stray away
Hello.
a little bit and we question some things, it's still in us.
But he made
Amen,
us.
sister.
Amen.
Amen. So this has been another episode.
Wait, can I? I've been wanting to do this.
Oh, you want to do it?
Yes. This has been another episode of Femme Queen, crazy, sexy, cool.
Juices.